Hari Om. Let us chant the first 10 verses of chapter 10. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Bhuya eva mahabaho Shrinu me paramam vachaha Yatteham priyamanaya Vakshyami hitakamyaya Name vidhu suraganaha Prabhavam namaharshayah Ahamatirhi devanam Maharshinam cha sadvashaha Yo mamajamanadim cha Veti lokamaheshwaram Asammudhas samartyeshu Sarvapaphay pramuchyate Buddhir jnanam asammohaha Kshama satyam tamah shamaha Sukham dukkham bhavo bhavaha Bhayam cha bhayameva cha Ahimsa samata tushtihi Tapodanam yasho yashaha Bhavanti bhava bhutanam Madhyeva prithagvidhaha Maharshaya saptakote Chatvaro manavastatha Madbhava manasa jataha Yesham lokahima prajaha Etam vibhutim yogam cha Mama yo veti tatpataha So vikampena yogena Yujyate natra samshayaha Aham sarvasya prabhavaha Mattas sarvam pravartate Iti matva bhajante ma Buddha bhava samanvitaha Macchitta madgata pranaha Bodhayanta parasparam Katayantascha mam nityam Tushyanti cha ramanti cha Tesham satata yuktanam Bhajatam priti purvakam Dadami buddhi yogam tam Ye namamupayanti te.
Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, saha viryan karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We are studying chapter 10. We have covered the first two verses. Chapter 10, Vibhuti Yoga. Vibhuti is glories. Know my glories. From chapter 7, almost till the end of chapter 12, the discussion here is about God. What is God, the nature of God, the connection to the creation and the God, all that we have been All this is being discussed. Chapter 7 and chapter 9 spoke about I am the creator. I have nothing to do with the creation. First he said, I created everything. Everything came out of me. And then he said, I have nothing to do with the creation. Now he is saying, how to worship. How to worship. How to worship me. Worship equals remembrance. Again I repeat. Worshipping me equals remembering me. That's what bhaja means. A constant remembrance. So, how to constantly remember me? In chapter 10, he is giving a method. In chapter 11, he is giving another method. And then in chapter 12, he concludes. Remembrance is easy with the form. Where there is a form, remembrance is easy, comparatively easy. Remembrance is comparatively easy if there is an auspicious form. So there are two things now. One is a form. One is a form. Second is, remember, if it is an auspicious form, it is more pleasant to remember. And then you move on to see God in Vibhuti Yoga. And then you move on to see God in Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. So, first you see in single form. We have seen this. Remember the sequence. Ekarupa, Anekarupa, Vishwarupa, Arupa, and then beyond. Ekarupa in one form. Anekarupa, Vibhuti Yoga. Vishwarupa, all put together. Arupa, formless. So form and formless, and then go beyond both. Where to start? It's easy to begin with the form, and it is easy to begin with the form that is good, easy to remember. So what he does here in chapter 10, the entire creation he takes about 75 aspects he takes from the entire creation. Some from the microcosm, some from the macrocosm, and he says, this is me, this is me, this is me, this is me. When we go there, we'll see the details of what it is. But what he's saying here is, I'm repeating so many times that I am in this, I am in this, I am in this. If you actually sit and list out, he is giving 76 items. Plus a few also. If you calculate all that, about 100 items he is giving, saying, I am this, I am this, I am this. Why is he repeating it so many times? Because Arjuna is delighted to hear. How many ever times he said, this is me, this is me, this is me. Arjuna is delighted to hear. If a person is not delighted to hear, what can you say? God is in everything, that person is not delighted to hear about God. If you are not delighted to hear about God, you are delighted in hearing about yourself. That's all. So, Sahasranama given to you will be more appealing than the Vishnu Sahasranama, isn't it? Your Sahasranama will be much more appealing. Now here he is saying Vishnu Sahasranama is so appealing because you are delighted to Sahasranama with 1,000 names, 1,000 ways of glorifying. You are wonderful, you are beautiful, you are everything to me. The first thought when I wake up is you. The last thought before I go to sleep is you. This is Sahasranama which I like to hear about me, isn't it? Here he is saying you like to hear the Sahasranama about God, he says. You like to hear this about God. Since you are delighted to hear this, Arjuna, I am repeating it again and again and again. I am repeating it again. It's so wonderful to talk about my glories because you are willing to hear, you are willing to listen. If you are not willing to hear, listen, even great people don't understand. That's where we conclude at last. Even the great, even the so-called great rishis, etc., nobody knows me. He gives the list, the host of gods and the great sages, all the lists are given. Even they do not know me. See, when he says even they do not know me, it means the glories are inexhaustible. My glories are so inexhaustible. My glories are so wonderful that I can go on and on and on repeating it. The subtlest, the noblest, the best is what he talks of. He spoke about in verse number 2. The host of gods nor the great sages know my origin. Now, who are they? They are the subtlest. They are the best, the noblest. Or you can say the cream of creation. They are the cream of creation. If they themselves do not know, what will Arjuna be thinking? How will I know then? If they themselves do not know, if they themselves cannot understand, how can I know and how can I understand? He says, no, it is still possible for you to know. It is still possible for you to understand. Why? Because you are delighted in hearing. Why? Because you are delighted in hearing it. Delighted in hearing indicates wanting that. Then only you will be delighted to hear, isn't it? Wanting it because except that nothing looks meaningful now. Except that nothing looks meaningful. Except God, nothing is meaningful now. He says, except me, nothing is meaningful. It's not in the list of things that are meaningful. God is one. Or you don't say, of the 10 things that is meaningful to me, God is number one, sir. You can't say that also. You can't say 10 things are meaningful to me. In that list, God is number one. He says, no, that list also is not. Even then, you will be, maybe you will be the cream, but still you will not know me. So what is he saying here? It's not a list. Of the list, I become important. Nothing else is meaningful to you. Nothing else is inspiring you. Nothing else is motivating you except me. Since you are like this, Arjuna, I am speaking to you. Let us continue to hear what he is speaking. Verse number 3. We'll start with verse number 3.
Yo mamajamanadim cha veti lokamaheshwaram asammudha samatyeshu sarvapabhai pramuchyate. Yo mamajamanadim cha veti lokamaheshwaram asammudha samatyeshu sarvapabhai pramuchyate.
He who knows me as unborn, beginningless, and the Supreme Lord of the world, he undeluded among mortals, he is liberated of all sins. He who knows me as unborn, beginningless, and the Supreme Lord of the world, undeluded among mortals, is liberated of all sins. We read it like that. He who knows me, he is undeluded among mortals, he is liberated of all sins. First read it like that. And then bring in the adjectives that he is giving. So how do you read the verse? First you read, he who knows me is undeluded. Liberated from, is undeluded, liberated from all sins. And how he knows me as unborn, beginningless, and the Supreme Lord of the world. He is Anadi, he is Ajaha, Loka, Maheshwara. Anadi means a causeless cause. That which has no cause is Anadi. Nadi, Anadi. Tamil they say no, Anada they say no. It's the same, it's the same word. Nadi means origin. You have an origin. Anadi means no origin, lonely. Nadi means there are people. Anadi means all by yourself. That's why we say Anatha, isn't it? Anatha, Natha, Dina Bandho, they sing, no? And they start crying about when they sing Anatha, Natha, Dina Bandho, they start crying. Self-pity, they will start crying, isn't it? Because I am so lonely, nobody is there for you, only me, isn't it? And they call this as bhakti. Krishna must be laughing at the self-pity and self-crying and all. He must be laughing. Say, what are you saying? Because I am also Anadi. No. If you are saying Anadi, then I am also Anadi. Anadi means that which has no cause. Everything has a cause. You go back. Something at the core is a causeless. So he says, in that sense, it is Anadi. In itself, it has no beginning. In itself, it has no beginning means in itself, it has no end. So that which has a beginning will have an end. Since it has no beginning, it has no end. He's only saying I don't have the possibility of a birth certificate at all. That's all he said. We all have the possibility of a birth certificate. Because we all have a birth certificate, we will necessarily have a death certificate also. We may not be seeing it, that's the only difference. But nevertheless, we have a birth certificate and we will definitely have a death certificate. He says here, Anadi means since I don't have a birth certificate, I don't have a death certificate also. Unborn. I am Anadi, I am unborn. Loka Maheshwaram. Loka means field of experience. Goloka is one experience. Swargaloka is another experience. Goloka, another experience. So, Loka literally means experience. Lokas means the realm of experiences. The realm of experiences where objects and beings exist, then only experience. So, Loka means the realm of objects and beings. So, whenever you talk about a Loka, there has to be some objects and there has to be some beings. Goloka, if you say, Krishna has to be there and we all have to be the ghosts there, isn't it? Yeah, he will be the, if you go to Goloka, Goloka is the, every god have their own country. And special techniques are there to get a visa to that country, isn't it? So if you worship Krishna, you will go to Goloka. It's called Goloka. So he will be the cowherd boy, and we all will be the cows there. We all will be the go, and he will be the cowherd boy. So there is an object, and then there is a being. So like that, each and every god, Shiva Loka, Vaikuntha Loka, each and every Loka. Ganesha also has his own Loka, Yama Loka, isn't it? Even Yama's things, this is also called Guloka, meaning what? Loka means realm of experience, objects and beings there. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Ishvara means Lord. Maha Ishvara means Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord means the lordliness that can never be taken away. It's not a 5-year period of lordliness. There are so many lords, but everybody lord has there are lords, but all lords will have a tenure, isn't it? American president is a lord, but how long he can be the president? 4 years. I don't know, 5 years. Here, 5 years. Tenure, that's all. Even if you are from birth to death, at death it will be taken away from you. Therefore, everybody can be a Ishvara for a temporary period of time. He is Maheshwara, Supreme Lord, where the lordliness can never be taken away. Lord means controller. Lord means governor. Here, when he uses the word Lord, as in controller, governor, how you should understand it? As the material cause, he is pervasive. As the efficient cause, he is the controller. Again, as the material cause, it is pervasive. As the efficient cause, it is controlling. Lordliness. We think Lord means boss, isn't it? We think Lord means boss. In that sense also he is correct. Because he is such a supreme boss that laws, LAWS, he is such a supreme Lord, the laws of life obey with 100% precision because he is monitoring everything. Because he is such a supreme Lord that he is monitoring everything, all the laws function so effectively. So effectively the laws are, that is also Lord, no? In that sense also he is Lord. Law functioning effectively means what? No way an exemption will be granted. You cannot seek exemption by violating. After violating, you can never ask for exemption. That is law. Able to follow? Law functioning effectively means what? You cannot violate and then come and seek exemption. Exemption from what? You violate the law, you obey the law. What is the consequence of obeying the law? You are protected. You violate the law, what is the consequence? Punishment. What is Supreme Lord means? The law is laid out for your welfare. All that you got to do is what? Follow the law, obey the law. You choose to violate the law. What will happen? Pain and suffering comes. And then you come and ask for what? Freedom from pain and suffering. First you will say, I want freedom from pain and suffering. Then I will choose whether to obey the law or not. Correct? First give me freedom from pain and suffering. Then I will decide what I want to do. That and all you don't tell me. Maheshwara knows the intentions. You may not know your intentions. Maheshwara knows the intentions. Therefore, what he does or she does, have you resolved rightly? If you have not resolved rightly, don't worry. The law will keep functioning and I can't do anything about it. Why? Because the law itself is created for your welfare. You come and ask me, do something that is harmful to me. Seeking exemption from law is asking for harm. Supreme Lord will not do that. People will do that. One ignorant person will do that to another ignorant person. Red signal, you violate the red signal, and then the police is there catching you after that, isn't it? That's a job of the police, isn't it? From where he will come, God only knows, but he comes. The moment you cross isn't it? He comes. The car is, and then he is asking me, show me your license. I'm showing the license. Enga irukringa? Where are you living? I say the name of the building where I'm living. Taisha. Immediately he goes erect now. Immediately he goes erect. Taisha le irukringa? No, yes. He looks at the driving license. Address also says Taisha. Ponga sir. Srikanth. This is the only advantage of living in this building. You can violate any number of signals I can violate, and I just have to show the, show the. On top of it, this is the best. Venkatachalam. This is the best. He will tell me, sir, he will say. He says, I have seen you somewhere. I have never met him. He has never met me. That's all. He's thinking that since I am coming from this building, I am some big officer coming from that building. Since I am a very big officer, violation, sir. Ponga, sir. Maheshwara will not do that. Whether which building you come from, which building you don't come from, and all doesn't matter. If you violate the law, there is Raj Shankar. I'm not joking. I have had this experience. Literally, I have had this experience. He'll ask me where you are from. Taisha. And then he will immediately, the Taisha means the group of building where all the top officers are living here. According to them, I'm also one. Short of asking me which department you are. Next time somebody will ask me which department, then I am getting caught now. Then I will be caught. The tragedy is dhoti, kurta, mala, ellam pottu ukandirukra. And the fellow still thinking I am some. Maheshwara will not give any such. Maheshwara will not give any such exemptions. Because he says, the law is kept for your welfare. You are coming and asking me to cause harm to you. You don't understand what? You violate the law. There is a consequence to violation. That consequence to the violation is for your benefit. You don't understand that. You violate the law, there is a consequence to that violation. And that consequence itself is for your benefit and welfare only. Are you able to follow? It means whenever you violate the law, there is agitations, there is pain, there is suffering, there is sorrow. And wherever there is pain, suffering, sorrow, what you should say now? Instead of saying, why am I suffering? You should say, thank you. Why? Because my welfare is taken care of. My welfare is taken care of. How my welfare is taken care of? By pain. Why? Because I'm refusing to learn through the normal method. What is the law that you should not violate? Don't be selfish and self-centered. You should not violate that law. Take a simple example. And you violate that law. Imagine that you violate that law and you can be exempted. What will happen? That exemption is a greater punishment. You don't understand it. There is a law. Don't be selfish and self-centered. You violate the law. And then if you are exempted, what is the greater punishment? The punishment is greater, or leaving you scot-free is detrimental to you. The exemption is detrimental to you, not the punishment. Are you able to follow? Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. That's what it means. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. If you said like that, you'll get angry also. Why you didn't say this 20 years back only? As though you would have told 30 years back, you would have heard and you would have become. It is the same thing that is being repeated again and again and again. The law is created and it is made sure that the law is obeyed and followed. Because he is Loka Maheshwara, what he does, he creates the law. This is the beauty of him. He creates the law and lot of supervisors he will create. First, he creates the law and then lot of supervisors are also created. So Yama is one supervisor. Delegates. So if the law is created, supervisors are created to ensure that it is all properly taken care of. And then what he does? That's where the beauty is. Shantakaram, Bhujagasayanam, that's it. So what he does, he creates the law. Supervisors are created. They are all struggling to ensure the law is maintained because he is Loka Maheshwaram. All that he does it in split second. The lokas are created in split second. The laws are created in split second. The supervisors are all created in split second. Jobs are allocated. It's all delegated. All doesn't take janmas and all. All takes only split second. By the time you blink of the eye, he creates, does everything, and then what happens? And then what he does? He goes and he lies down. Yeah. And he goes and he lies down. Permanently he is lying down. And he's so dressed up also. Why to dress up the person lying down so much, isn't it? And he's so beautifully decked up, dressed up, and all are sitting and glorifying the sleeping posture, isn't it? Oh, how beautiful he's sleeping. How wonderful he's sleeping. Well, when sleeping, isn't it? Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Understand it like that. The undeluded understand it. By these three words, we are trying to get rid of the delusion now. What is the delusion? Sarvaloka Maheshwaram means, thank God, he is making sure that I am not granted exemption. So now you do one extra namaskara to him. Why? First namaskara to the pain he gave you. Second namaskara for not granting me exemption. So 2 namaskaras you do. Again and again and again you do the same thing. Asammudaha. Asammudaha means Mudaha means fool. Sammudaha means, okay, Muda means fool. Sammuda means completely fool. Asammudaha means no trace of foolishness. No trace of foolishness at all. Able to follow? No trace of foolishness at all. What does no trace of foolishness means? Knowing water to be pervading the whole ocean, knowing water to be pervading the whole ocean, the wave understands. Knowing that what the wave understands. What does the wave understand? The wave understands that I am the water. The wave understands that I am the water. And whatever happens is all happening in my realm and nothing, whatever is happening, all that is happening in my realm and nothing affects me. Saha Marteshu Asammudaha. No delusion at all. Opposite of Asammudaha is Buddhiman. Sthita Prajna. Opposite of Asammudaha is Sthita Prajna. One person is completely deluded. The other person has no delusion at all. What is the positive word of asammudaha? What is opposite?
Sammuda is undeluded.
Undeluded.
Yeah.
He is not a mudatma. He is not a mudatma. Opposite of mudatma is what? Opposite of him is what? Sthita prajna. He is deluded. This person is undeluded. One way of saying is asammudaha. Another way of saying it is sthita prajna. Another way of saying it is sthita prajna. Both are one and the same. They are not both are one and the same. Different words. Every time a new word is given, your attention is awakened. The same word repeated, lullaby. Therefore, what he does, he keeps giving new words. What he understands amongst the mortals is undeluded. A very rare pair, a mortal and undeluded. Mortals and deluded is the normal pair. Normally, mortal and delusion goes together. Here, there is a new pair. What is a new pair? He is a mortal and undeluded. Mortal in relation to the elements, undeluded in relation to the stability in wisdom. Again, I repeat two things. One is a mortal in relation to the elements. Another is a stability. What is stability? Stability in relation to the wisdom, steadiness. He is undeluded. He is liberated from all sins. Is liberated from all sins means the tendency, the potential to create sin isn't there. Again, I repeat, freedom from all sins means the potential to make you commit a sin isn't there. What is the potential that makes you to commit sin? Sarva papaihi pramuchyate. Sarva papaihi pramuchyate. All sins he is liberated from. Sanchita karma is one sin. Agami karma is another sin. Prarabdha karma is another sin. All sins he is liberated from. To put it in a much simpler way, liberated from all vasanas. He is undeluded because he has understood what if papam is one kind of suffering, punyam is another kind of suffering. He has understood that. If naraka is one kind of suffering, swarga is another kind of suffering. If hell is one kind of suffering, heaven is another kind of suffering. So now he combines both. Hell and heaven combined is suffering. Hell is one kind of suffering. Heaven is another kind of suffering. Now he has combined both hell and heaven as suffering. Why hell and heaven is suffering? Because your true nature is not yet known. As long as the true nature is not yet known, the potential for suffering is very much alive. Therefore, he is not even interested in happiness. He doesn't say, I'm disturbed, I want people ask, no? The whole world is asking for this, no? Peace of mind, sir. Huh? Peace of mind. மைண்ட்னாலே பீஸ் தான், isn't it? ரெண்டு பீஸ் இருக்குது, isn't it? What are the two kinds of peace? What are the two kinds of peace? ஒன்னு PEACE, one kind of peace. Another is peace ஆகிறது, isn't it? Another is peace. This is also pronounced as peace. That is also pronounced as peace. And both are diametrically opposite, isn't it? Peace ஆகிடுவேன்னா என்ன அர்த்தம்? So one is PEACE, another is, what is the other piece spelling? PIECE. Peace of mind na people make the first piece. அது போடவே கூடாது. Peace of mind na you should never write PEACE, and mind doesn't go together, full stop. Take it or leave it, doesn't matter. Peace of mind கிடையவே கிடையாது. Peace of mind na it is correct. Spelling மாத்திட்டா it becomes very clear. Change the spelling, it will be very clear. Peace of mind. So wherever in future, from this moment onwards, wherever you talk about peace of mind, Anshu, what should be the spelling? PIECE. Because what you call as peace of mind is also suffering. Peace, I want to be peaceful. What is that peace? There's no peace there. Why? Because still the nature is not known. Still your true nature is not known. Therefore, what happens? Whatsoever you do, the separation still exists. That separation is painful. Whatsoever you do, the separation is still existing. And that separation is painful. The undeluded amongst mortal means who has crossed that pain of separation. The union has happened. The union has happened. Therefore, we say sthita prajna. One kind of actions will result in naraka. Egocentric actions, selfish actions, naraka. Unselfish actions, egocentric, selfish actions equals naraka, hell. Unselfish actions equals heaven. It's a wrong equation. Because something vital is missed also in this equation. Egocentric plus selfish equals naraka. Egocentric plus unselfish. So, angi egocentric ponno. Even in unselfishness also you have to put egocentric. Then only you will understand how that is also a pain. But then conveniently what do we do? Egocentric plus selfish. Conveniently we eliminate the egocentric, unselfish only. Why are they suffering, sir? Why good people are also suffering? Of course, good people also will suffer. Why? Because ego is still there. No. Egocentric bad, egocentric good. What difference does it make? Good or bad? Because the ego has made it. The ego is there, which is causing agitations. He is free from both. That's why he is undeluded amongst the mortals. He is undeluded amongst the mortals. He is saying no to papam and he is saying no to punyam. He is saying no to both. Hitakamyaya. Hitakamyaya. Previously he said, Hitakamyaya means I'm teaching you again. I'm teaching this again. What is this that I'm teaching again? What is it that I'm teaching again? aspire freedom from heaven also. Aspire for freedom from hell. No teaching is required for that. No teaching is required to say, ask for freedom from pain and suffering. Does anybody have to come and tell you? You do it by yourself. No. When you are in pain, you yourself do it. Where teaching is required? From that heaven also. I am the Maheshwara. I am Ajaha. I am Anadi. What is the solace from this verse? Whenever you feel lonely, understand you have company. Whenever you feel lonely, understand you have a company. Who's giving you company? Whenever you feel anadi, whenever you feel lonely, you know that you have a company. And who's giving you company there? He is giving you company. Because he is also saying anadi, ajam, and loka, sarva loka maheshwaram. In each and every adjective that is used, it is not just to glorify him. In each and every adjective, one part of your delusion goes away. That's why we take up each and every adjective and try to understand it. It's not a simple stuti. It's not a simple praise. In each and every praise, in each and every word, we try to see some part of delusion can be removed. Some part of delusion can be removed. Some part of delusion can be removed. Therefore, he says, I am Anadi, I am Ajaha, I am the cause for everything. And when you say I am the cause for everything, all that we studied already, I'm not going to the so tempting to go into it week after week after week, but then what to do? Then we will not move into the next verse. The nimitta karana, the upadana karana, all that we studied in chapter 7 and chapter 9, you should remember. So wherever he says, I am the Lord, you should be able to quickly recollect those concepts. Then what happens? You know me in essence. You know me in essence. Knowing me in essence means becoming me. Knowing me in essence is becoming me. Knowing the essence of sugar is the only way to know the essence of sugar is to taste it, isn't it? Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gives this example. A man who's deluded and undeluded, he gives an example. A man goes to the mango farm, counts the number of mangoes, counts the number of trees, do chemical analysis on the mango, but one thing he doesn't do, doesn't taste it. One thing he doesn't do, doesn't taste. Another man comes, simply picks up the mango fruit and tastes it. Who's deluded, who's undeluded amongst these two? The one who knows so much about mango but hasn't tasted it is deluded. He may not know, he may not know the number of mangoes. He may not know all that. He just comes and tastes it. He knows the essence. Tattvataha. Know me, Arjuna. Know me as this. Know me as this. We feel like saying, now I have understood you, isn't it? Krishna is saying, list is not even started. You're not even started the list. How can you get fatigued so early? The list continues. Verse number 4, pading. 1 second, 1 second. Yes.
So in Ajam, I don't understand this note that please explain that. And second thing is from one angle, Ajam and Anadi looks the same, like unborn and living. Or is there any difference at all? That's the second question.
In a very, the question is, Ajam means unborn. Ajaha literally means unborn.
Meaning there is no possibility of
Birth. There's no possibility of,
that is what
yes. Possibility of birth comes only when you are not there at some point of time. You can come into existence. Birth means coming into existence, meaning you aren't there at some point of time, then you can come. Ajam means okay. To put it in a very simple way, in the Sanskrit lesson, they will teach. What is the another meaning of the word Aja? I am Gajaha. Then there is I am Ajaha. Ajaha na enartham? Goat. Goat na Messi is goat. Abdina? Messi is goat. They say no. Okay, first of all, who's Messi? That has to be told. Yeah. Okay. First of all, there is a thing called sports. Yeshu. In life, there is a thing called sports, games. Because she doesn't know what it is. Yeah. So first thing, there is a thing called games, sports. In that thing called games, sports, there is one specific game called football. In that specific thing called football, there is one player called Messi. And that Messi is called goat. Inga goat in the meaning, you are a goat, na one meaning irukku. You are a goat, na one meaning irukku. Yes. Greatest of all time. Adam Brahman, Ajaha. Ajaha, Brahman. Yeah, greatest of all time. Messi, Ronaldo. What Messi, what Ronaldo? Maradona. What all the, I said, no, there's only one goat. And that one goat is me. Are you able to follow? It is, there is no second that can surpass. Are you able to follow? Ajaha, unborn. So that meaning is also very interesting. This meaning is also very interesting. What is this meaning? Unborn. Ajam literally means unborn. Unborn means no janma. Are you able to follow? Okay, what causes janma? What is the cause for janma? It becomes very simple. What is the cause for janma? Apurnatvam, unfulfillment. Janma comes only when you feel unfulfilled. There's no janma at all for him. Why? Because Purnam. Are you able to follow? In that sense, it is Ajam. In that sense also it is Ajam. Are you able to follow? Janma comes only when there is a need for fulfillment. Then only Janma comes. There is unfulfillment and the need to find fulfillment. In Purnam, what is the way? Purnam will necessarily be Ajam. Purnam will necessarily be Anadi. Are you able to follow? Understand it like that. No birth means no death. If birth is beginning and all that has a beginning will have an end. That which has no beginning, where it will end? It cannot end. In that sense, it is eternal existence. Eternal existence. Another word is, beautiful word, is consciousness. What is, can there be a birth of consciousness? You cannot say consciousness was born. You cannot say that. Why? Because to be born means to be conscious of. It means consciousness was existing already. Aja, unborn. A consciousness that never had a birth. Then only can be consciousness. If it had a birth, then where was it before? How did it come? No, it is ever present. That which is ever present is Ajam. Are you okay? That which is ever present is Ajam and born. Anadi. From one angle, we are talking about birth. Anadi in the angle of causeless cause. Anadi in the angle of causeless cause. You see an effect and then you go back to the cause. You see an effect and then you go back to the cause. Even though we call it as cause and effect, how does it actually work? Effect and cause. Effect is what you see and then you infer the cause. Effect is what you see and then you infer the cause, isn't it? You see me, supposing, you see me banging my head against the wall. What are you seeing? What are you seeing? Me banging against the wall. What do you infer? Anger. Even though you didn't see anger. So you will see what? You see the effect and then you infer what? The cause. Cause and effect now. What is the cause? Anger is the cause. Banging against the wall is the effect. Actually, how did it happen? Did you come from cause to the effect, or from the effect you went back and projected the cause? Reverse only. Like that, if you keep going back, there has to be a primordial cause. There has to be a fundamental cause. There has to be an original cause, and that original cause has to necessarily be a causeless cause. Because if that has a cause, then the same infinite loop. Therefore, he says, Anadi means in itself it has no beginning. The ultimate cause, the first cause, and that ultimate cause, the first cause is causeless. Why no cause? Human mind cannot understand that. Why no cause? Why no cause? We cannot understand that. Because the mind which is so utilitarian will always ask this question. So we simply take it at that. Are you able to follow? This is Ajam and Anadi. Seriya? Verse number 4 padi.
4 and 5?
4 and 5 together. Okay.
बुद्धिर्ज्ञानमसम्मोहः क्षमा सत्यं दमः शमः सुखं दुःखं भवो भावः भयं च भयमेव च अहिंसा समता तुष्टिः Tapodanam yasho yashaha bhavanti bhava bhutanam mattaheva prithak vidhaha buddhir jnanam asammohaha Kshama satyam dhamma shamaha sukham dukkham bhavo bhavaha bhayam cha bhayameva cha ahimsa samatha tushtihi tapodanam yasho yashaha bhavanti bhava bhutanam Matthayefa prithak vidhaha.
Intellect, knowledge, non-illusion, forgiveness, truth, control over senses and mind, joy and sorrow, existence and non-existence, fear and fearlessness. Also, continue into the next mantra. Also, non-injury, equanimity, contentment, austerity, charity, fame, and infamy. Different kinds of characteristics of beings arise from me alone. Yashaha, your name is also coming. Huh? She's Yashaha. Why they kept that name, I don't know, but anyway. The characteristics. At the macrocosmic level, he take up a few and then he says, all this is me. At the microcosmic level, at the individual level, he takes up a few and he says, this is me. Simply saying, your ego has no role to play in anything because everything is me. What are you saying? That's all he's saying. To put it in very beautifully, he's saying, your ego, that I have this, I don't have this, has no meaning at all. Because it's all me. It's all me. It's all me. One thing is to say, don't have any ego. Ah, yes, sir. I don't have any ego becomes a very big ego now. What is the other way now? What is the other way? What all you have is me, is mine. What all anybody has is mine. What everybody has is mine. Good reputation you experience, Yashaha, is good reputation. Ayashaha, bad reputation. If there are 4 people saying you are good, there are 4 people going to say you are bad. Both are me. Both are me. Dhana, charity. Opposite of dhanam is ownership, proprietorship. So in dhanam, what are you getting rid of? The ownership you are getting rid of. The proprietorship is me. So when you give dhanam, what are you getting rid of? You are not, they are in need of it. I am giving, I am sharing it with the needy. Isn't it? I am sharing things with the needy. That is not dhanam. What is the? By giving it away, you are checking how much of proprietorship you are having. Dhanam is a self-indicator. Dhanam is not for the other. Dhanam is a self-indicator. Prida Vijay. When you give dhanam, it is not for the welfare of another you are giving dhanam. When you give dhanam, then only you know how much proprietorship you have. How much of ownership you are having in that. That's why when you give dhanam, the receiver will say, ownership oda kurta, it is dirt, I don't want the dirt, he will say. Anything given with ownership is dirt. Because the ownership is the dirt. Well, sir, dirt give me. The dirt is very Shankar. The dirt. It's a very pleasant dirt. And I will carry this. How? I will carry a lot of this dirt. I will be number one in the world, having so much of dirt. Weird is the human mind. Very weird it is. So, dhanam is a check on your ownership. How much of proprietorship you are having. That's why na mama and give. That's why he says na mama and give. When you give, you should always say na mama, not mine, not mine, not mine. Then people believe dhanam means giving it to the needy. That's why I'm giving. Check on your proprietorship. Tapaha, austerity. What is austerity? Avoiding indulgences. What is austerity? Tapas means avoiding. Tapas is not suffering. When you are avoiding indulgence, mind gets very agitated. That agitation in the first layer looks like suffering. Tapas is not suffering. Tapas means avoiding indulgences. And whenever you make an attempt to avoid indulgence, the mind will not cooperate. That non-cooperation is agitating. Therefore, people think tapas means suffering. What does tapas means? Tapas means, to put it in very simple way, tapas equals middle path. Put it like that. Tapas means middle path. Of all the things in life, middle path is the difficult. Extremes are easy. Extremes are very easy. Middle path is difficult. So tapas equals middle path. Tushtihi, contentment. A contentment. At any given point of time in relation to the present, you are contented. No atrupti at all. Trupti, pushtihi, full of contentment. Contentment, because you have the understanding. You get what you deserve, not what you desire. Therefore, what you got is what you deserve, and you are contented. This is the wife I got. Contented. Yeah, contented. Srikanth. Yeah, contentment. Yeah, customer. Contentment it is. No agitation at all. Why? Because you get what you deserve. So this is what I deserve. I got it. Bhavna, contentment. Yeah, contentment. Even though very difficult, impossible it is. Yeah, impossible it is. Yeah. Shailesh. So I'm telling Bhavana silence. Contentment. Contentment is in relation to your at any point of time in relation to your present, a contentment. This is what you deserve. You follow? A gratitude. This is what I get, this is what I deserve, and you don't start crying. Gratitude. Are you able to that? That is true contentment. A gratitude in relation to your present contentment. Don't forget, he's saying all this is me. He's saying Dhanam is me. Yashasvi is me. Tapas is me. Tushti is me. Samatha. Equanimity. Equanimity. Equanimity means joy comes, sorrow comes. Pain comes, pleasure comes. Success comes, failure comes. Samatha, equanimity. Ahimsa. Himsa is relishing causing injury. You will cause injury to another and you will relish it. I gave it nicely, sir, today. He was waiting for this. And the fellow gave me a loose ball. And I gave it back nicely. But objectively, sir, I did it. and then they'll add, but objectively I did it. Himsa it is. Yeah, himsa. Ahimsa is a state of love where you do not want to cause harm or injury to anybody. Bhayam, abhayam. Beautiful it is. Bhayam is abhayam. If he says it is me, is understandable. He says bhayam is also me. Fear is me and fearlessness is also me. Sattvic buddhi. In the 18th chapter he says Sattvic buddhi. You should know what to fear. You should know what not to fear. You should learn to fear something in life. I don't fear anything at all. Tamasic buddhi it is. Tamasic person it is. Fear and fearlessness. Fear and fearlessness. Because I should know what to fear and I should know what not to fear. Entanglements you should fear. Entanglements you should fear. Delusion you should fear. Selfishness you should fear. What you should not fear? Detachment you should not fear. Sacrifice you should not fear. Giving up you should not fear. Ulta we do, isn't it? What all we should not fear, we will fear. What all we should fear, we go on tightly hug it and wanting to become one with it. Bhavam, abhavam. Bhavam and abhavam. Shama, mental control. Bhavam, existence, manifest and unmanifest. Bhavam means existence, abhavam, unmanifest, non-existence. It is easy to understand it as manifest and unmanifest. What is manifest and unmanifest? In this classroom, we are manifest at times, we become unmanifest at times, isn't it? Yeah, manifest and unmanifest. We are manifest at some point of time. We are unmanifest at another point. He says, both are me. When your manifestation is also me, the unmanifestation is also me. Okay. Waking dream state is me. Deep sleep state is also me. Existence and bhavam and bhavam. Shama, mental control. Control of the mind. What does control of the mind means? When the mind is monitored, when the mind is willing to get guided, that is called mind control. The mind that is willing to get guided is control of the mind. Again, I repeat, control of the mind means the mind that is willing to get guided. I'm willing to get guided. That is control. Opposite of that is, what is opposite of that now? Uncontrolled means unguided. Are you able to follow? Satyam, a life of conviction. A life of conviction. That is Satyam. Kshama, forgiveness. What is forgiveness? Kshama, an understanding born out of nature. An understanding born out of nature. What is nature means? All species, all beings act according to their nature. I understand that. That understanding is kshama, forgiveness. Forgiveness is not a superiority state where I say, I forgive you. Who am I to say, I forgive you? Who somebody to say, forgive somebody else? But that is not forgiveness, even though that's the English word has to be like forgiveness. But what is meant by that is religious tolerance, they say, isn't it? The person is so intolerant, isn't it? The very word religious tolerance implies of intolerance only. Who am I to say I am a religious? Who am I to say I am tolerating others? Even though they are all non-Vedanta people, I still tolerate them. Shama, forgiveness. Are you able to follow? What is forgiveness here? A charitable disposition arising out of an understanding. What? All beings act according to their nature. When all beings act according to their nature, some will be pleasant, some will be unpleasant. Some will be acceptable, some will be unacceptable. Are you able to follow? All beings act according to their nature. Some will be pleasant, some will be unpleasant. Some will be acceptable, some will be unacceptable. In the areas of unpleasant and unacceptable nature, this understanding comes and says they are acting according to their nature. That is kshama, forgiveness. Asammoha, non-illusion. Hey, don't worry, he's going to repeat it again in this chapter. He's going to repeat it again in 11th chapter. Again, 35 qualities, we are going to discuss it. Again, in 20 qualities, we are going to discuss it. So for the next 3 year syllabus, for the next 3 years, because this is what he's going to repeat again and again and again. As in 11th chapter is going to repeat it. 12th chapter is going to say it as 35 qualities. In 13th chapter, he is going to call it as 20 qualities. In 14th chapter, he is going to call it as Sattva, Rajo, Tamo, Guna. In 16th chapter, he is going to call it as Daivic qualities and Asuric qualities. Preparatory lesson. This is the syllabus. From 9th to what chapter we are in? 10th chapter. 10th chapter, 18th chapter is the syllabus. So don't worry, you will be hearing it again and again and again. Asammoha, non-illusion. Undiluted. non-illusion. Jnanam, knowledge. Here, jnanam means awareness. The awareness by which you are aware of what you know and what you don't know. The awareness by which you know what you know, the awareness by which you know what you do not know. Beautiful word, jnanam. This is, we'll be discussing all that in detail. Jna comes from the root jna. Aitareya Upanishad and two Upanishads go into detailed elaboration on jnanam. The word jna, knowledge. And then comes prajnanam. Jnanam is always prajnanam. Prajnanam Brahma. Okay, the word pra, at least you are familiar. At least the word pra you are familiar. No, where you are familiar with the word pra? Prakriti. Kritam means starting of action. Prakriti means the first start. Beginning of the action. Jnanam comes from the root jna, to know. Meaning that which makes you fundamentally know what you know and what you don't know. That's what he meant by, it's not the knowledge of something. It's not like the knowledge of physics. It's not the knowledge of chemistry. It is not a specific knowledge, a knowledge and awareness. Buddhi, intellect. Thank God he started the list with the buddhi. We went ulta. He started with buddhi and ended with yashasvi.
Yes.
Yeah, he started. Meaning, buddhi and yashasvi has so much of gap. That's what it means. I'm not saying that. The verse is saying. So what we did, we went ulta, isn't it? We started from there, and where did we end? Buddhi, intellect. What is buddhi? The capacity to constantly keep discriminating, discerning. That constant discernment, that constant discrimination. Nitya, anitya, viveka, vichara. That is buddhi. What is nityam? What is anityam? What is satyam? What is satyam? The permanent and impermanent. The real and the temporary. Permanent and impermanent. Real and the temporary. So what is intellect? Intellect is aware of this distinction. The moment the intellect is aware of this distinction, what happens? It starts behaving itself properly. How do you know it is behaving itself properly? The mind, the senses, all will be under discipline. The mind, the senses, when all are under discipline, you say, buddhi is functioning. How do you know buddhi is functioning? Senses are disciplined, the mind is disciplined. So functioning of intellect means the senses being disciplined and the mind being disciplined. All these qualities, he says as, all these qualities, here he is saying it is me. First he spoke about the macrocosm. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, Ajam, all that he spoke about in the context of the totality. Me. Now he came back to the microcosm. And then he's saying, this is me. Right through, he's going to play this game. Some from the macrocosm he will take, some from the microcosm he will take, some from the macrocosm he will take, some from the microcosm he will take. Constantly saying, it's me, it's me, it's me. Meaning you cannot escape me. That's all. Wherever you go, you have no freedom. If you think you have a choice, Rajshankar, if you think you have a choice, he's saying you have no choice. Because you cannot escape. You cannot escape me. Your only choice is what, today or tomorrow. Avladhan. Either today or tomorrow is your only choice. That you choose. But what choice you don't have? To escape me, Srikanth. And the choice kadaive kadaidu. So human beings' destiny, human beings' fate is already predetermined. What? All human beings' life is fate. Predetermined already. What? Moksha. Question is what? Today or tomorrow? If you are wise, what will you do? If you are wise, you will do it now only. Why? Yeah. Why tomorrow? Postpone another winding path. Yeah. That's the winding path. Long winding path. Tomorrow. Anyway, that's the destination. Might as well do it now and be done with it. That is being very wise. This is 4 and 5. We have some clarifications. We'll take up those clarifications first next week, and then we'll move on to the verses. With this, we conclude for Venkat. I'm seeing a few clarifications. I saw those clarifications, but we will take it up next week first, and then we will move on to the verses.